In life, we always seek something that gives meaning and happiness. However, can we all agree on the meaning of happiness? Happiness is not just a mental state, it is also the journey of stories and valuable experiences. Today, Philo of Life will take you through 7 stories about happiness, where each story is a lesson about the true meaning of happiness. Let's explore the experiences, understanding, and gratitude from courageous individuals who share their journey in search of happiness. Hi! Welcome to Philo of Life, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge and personal development. Unleash the power of intellect, foster innovative thinking, and shape your future through our profound videos. The primary goal of this channel is to build a community where people can share, discuss, and explore the diverse aspects of life and its meaning. First story, The Bold Frog and the Lesson of Ignoring Mockery. As a group of frogs was traveling through the forest, 2 unfortunate frogs fell into a deep pit. The other frogs gathered around the pit, assessed its depth, and concluded that it was too deep to escape. They advised the 2 trapped frogs to conserve their energy since there was no hope of getting out. Ignoring these discouraging words, the 2 frogs in the pit persisted in trying to find a way to jump out. The frogs outside the pit not only failed to encourage them, but also suggested giving up. After several attempts, one of the frogs inside the pit grew exhausted and accepted defeat. Meanwhile, the remaining frog inside the pit became more determined and, with a final mighty leap, successfully jumped out. Upon reaching safety, the other frogs asked, "Didn't you hear us? Why didn't you give up?" The victorious frog explained that it was deaf and thought that the cheers from the other frogs were encouraging it to keep trying. Lesson: the words of those around you can have a significant impact on your life, but you should not waste time with those who only drain your happiness. You cannot control what happens in your life, but you can control how you react to the world. Second story, The Deceptive Butter and the Law of Reciprocity. In ancient times, a farmer regularly sold butter to a baker. One day, the baker decided to weigh the quantity of butter he purchased to verify whether the farmer was selling the agreed-upon amount. He discovered that the actual weight of the butter did not match the agreed-upon quantity and took the farmer to court. The judge asked the farmer how he measured the weight of the butter. The farmer replied, "Your Honor, I don't have any precise measuring tools, but I have a way to determine the weight of the butter." "How did you weigh the butter, then?" "Your Honor, before the baker bought butter from me, I would buy a pound of bread from him. Each day, when he delivered the bread, I would place it on the scale and return to him the quantity of butter equal to the weight of the bread. If anyone was cheating, it was him as the baker." Lesson: you will receive what you give. Deception will be met with multiplied deceit. Third story, The Boulder in the Path and the Reward for Overcoming Obstacles. In a certain kingdom, the wise king wanted to test the character of his people. He placed a large boulder in the middle of a frequently traveled road. The king then disguised himself as a commoner to observe who would be willing to move the boulder out of the way. Many wealthy merchants and courtiers passed by, but they merely walked around the rock, blaming the king for not maintaining clear pathways. None took any action to resolve the issue. One day, a humble farmer carrying a load of vegetables approached the boulder. He put down his load and attempted to move the rock to clear the path. After successfully moving the boulder, the farmer discovered a bag containing a substantial amount of gold and a letter from the king, expressing gratitude for clearing the obstruction from the road. Lesson: every obstacle we face is an opportunity for self-improvement. While the lazy complain, others are creating opportunities with compassionate hearts, goodwill, and a willingness to take action. Fourth story: the cocoon and the butterfly. A man found a caterpillar struggling inside a cocoon. The caterpillar seemed to be trying hard to emerge from the cocoon. The man sat down and observed the cocoon for hours as the caterpillar appeared to be laboring intensely to create a small opening. Suddenly, it stopped and seemed exhausted, stuck. The man decided to help the butterfly by using scissors to widen the hole in the cocoon a little more. Afterward, the small butterfly could easily escape the cocoon, but its body seemed weak, and its wings were shriveled. The man waited, hoping the butterfly's wings would eventually expand, and it would take flight. However, that never happened. The butterfly would only be able to live the remainder of its life by crawling with a weakened body and crumpled wings. It could never fly. Despite the man's good intentions, he didn't understand the laws of nature. The narrow cocoon is a challenge for the caterpillar to transform into a butterfly. Only through its own efforts to escape the cocoon can the fluid in the caterpillar's body move to the wings, enabling it to fly freely. Lesson: the struggles in life help us develop strength. Without challenges, we never grow and become stronger. Solving problems on our own, without relying on others, is crucial for building resilience and strength in life. Fifth story: pursuing happiness. An elderly man lived in a small village, and the entire village felt troubled because he always complained, making everyone around him feel gloomy. Each day, he seemed to make those around him uncomfortable, spreading unhappiness. As a result, everyone in the village tried their best to avoid encountering him. But one day, when the old man turned 80, people were surprised by the rumor, "Today is a happy day for the old man. He hasn't complained about anything. He hasn't frowned, and, surprisingly, he has been smiling a lot." The villagers gathered around the old man and asked, "What happened to you?" "Nothing special at all. For 80 years, I tried to pursue happiness, but it never worked. I just decided to live without the need for happiness, simply enjoying the present moment. Surprisingly, that's when I felt the happiest I've ever been." Lesson: don't chase happiness. Just enjoy your life, and happiness will find its way to you. Sixth story: few people laugh at the same joke multiple times. In a village, people often sought advice from a wise man on life's issues. Many individuals came repeatedly to complain about the same life problems. One day, the wise man decided to tell a funny story that made everyone burst into laughter. A few minutes later, he repeated the same joke, but only a few people smiled. Then, he told the joke for the third time, and no one laughed. At that moment, the wise man smiled and said, "You can't laugh at the same joke 3 times. So why do you cry over the same issue repeatedly? Lesson: worry and fear don't solve problems, they only waste your time and energy. Seventh story, The Greedy Lion. It was an extremely hot day, and a lion felt very hungry. It roamed around in search of prey, but only found a small rabbit. However, when about to pounce on its prey, the lion hesitated, realizing that the small rabbit wouldn't be enough to satisfy its hunger. At that moment, the lion spotted a deer approaching. It thought, instead of catching that small rabbit, I will catch that deer. The lion let the rabbit escape and followed the deer, but in the end, the deer disappeared into the woods. The lion returned to the original spot, but the small rabbit was long gone. Lesson: a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So what is happiness? Happiness is a positive and comfortable psychological state, often accompanied by feelings of satisfaction, security, and contentment. The concept of happiness can vary for each individual, as everyone has different values, dreams, and living conditions. Happiness can stem from various sources, including social relationships, personal success, self-development, enjoying simple moments in life, and being content with oneself and one's life. It is a multidimensional and complex state, sometimes challenging to precisely define due to its personal and relative nature. Achieving happiness may involve seeking balance in life, setting goals and pursuing passions, maintaining positive relationships, and deriving enjoyment from positive aspects in the surrounding environment. Everyone, let's find happiness in simple moments, appreciate positive aspects around us, and cherish the small pieces of life. Happiness often emerges when we are grateful and live with a heart full of compassion. Sometimes, it's not something we are searching for, it's something we are building. Sincerely appreciate your interest and precious time you've dedicated to reading the reflections on happiness. Hopefully, these stories have provided you with inspiration and thoughts on how we can build a meaningful and joyful life. Remember that happiness is not something distant, it often exists right around us, in small moments and social connections. By cherishing each moment, we can discover true happiness. Please continue to follow along for sharing, learning, and building a community where we can together seek and create more happiness in life. Thank you, and wish everyone a day filled with happiness and meaning.